Well, howdy partners, it's your old buddy the Reddit Rider, and welcome back to the Reddit Ranch. Why don't y'all come in and sit a spell, 'cause I got some mighty fine tales to tell. Like our first story, it's from a cowpoke that wants to know the answer to a particular question. What do y'all do if you're about to marry a filly that wants to have youngings, but y'all don't? Yeah, I can see that being a might bit of a problem.
AITA for not talking to my fiancé because I don't want kids. I know that the title makes me seem like the AH, but please hear me out. I'm 23, and my fiancé is 25, and we just had a talk about when we should have kids. I told her no because I had a crappy dad and I had a fear of being him if I ever have kids, so I pushed the idea out of my mind. My fiancé did not take this very well and said that we should at least try it and see how it pans out. I said no because it would be a really bad idea to just treat the child like some sort of experiment, and to just hold off on the idea and get back with each other, and see how we feel about this idea. Again, she did not take this well and said that we need to decide this as soon as possible, and to know if she has to redo her dating life. I asked her what she meant by that, and she said that she does not want to be with someone that does not want kids. I said nothing and went to our spare bedroom to sleep because I figured that she would want to have some space and think, and the same for me. The next morning I got a call from my mother-in-law saying that my fiancé called her and said that I hate kids and I would never have kids with her, and that I would leave her if she would get pregnant. That is not what happened, and I tried to explain the misunderstanding, but she just hung up. When I went to confront my fiancé about the call, she wasn't there, so I would just wait until she would get back and tell her about it. I got a call from her, and she said that she was staying at her mom's house and that I should not wait for her. I tried calling her again to talk about it, but it just went to voicemail, so I went to work. When I got back, she was still gone, so I made dinner and watched a movie and think about how I can talk to her about this. I know that she was going to give me the silent treatment, and not going to stop until I give in to have kids. So AITA?
No partner, you ain't a sidewinder. If y'all don't want to have youngings, then you shouldn't have youngings, and your fiancé's idea of just trying it to see how it pans out is a horrible idea. I mean, what do y'all do if it doesn't pan out? I mean, I reckon you can't just rehome a child like an unwanted puppy. My advice to y'all is to break up with her. If you really don't want kids, but she really does, then your marriage is doomed from the start. Oh, one more idea I have for your future: next time, y'all might not want to wait until you're engaged to talk about whether or not you want youngings. That's a discussion you two should have had closer to your first date. Well partners, why do y'all reckon they waited so long to have that discussion? When do you think they should have had the baby talk? Tell me what you think in the comments. Our next tale comes from a little lady that reckons it might be time to call it quits when it comes to her marriage, but she is not totally sure.
I want to leave my husband, but scared I'm overreacting. My husband and I are both 31, and we have been together for 3 years, married for 2, and no kids. We love each other immensely, but our relationship has been tough. I am the breadwinner and make considerably more than him. I am paid monthly and handle all our finances, savings, rent, utilities, and he gets paid weekly and pays the grocery. We used to split rent equally $225 each, but he complained that his check wasn't enough to last him the week, so we changed it to me paying everything. I maintain the house, cleaning/laundry, and even mow the lawns because I get tired of asking him to do it. My husband has a habit of ruining everything good that happens in our lives. He makes little to no effort in our marriage, but yet I go above and beyond for us. I plan all our vacations, and instead of being appreciative, he'll find something to be mad about and completely ruin the trip. This happens with almost everything in our life. Our wedding day, buying our first home, etc. Everything is done by me, and all I ever want from him is to be thankful, but all I get is someone who is ungrateful. I feel so resentful. I've only ever been with him, so have no experience with relationships. He makes me feel like I'm overreacting, but I don't think I am. I've tried to end it, but he just cries and says he'll change and put out more effort, but then he never does. I feel so trapped and overwhelmed. I know what to do, but just can't bring myself to leave.
No ma'am, I don't think y'all's overreacting, and I think it might be time to leave him. And here's why. Y'all said that you feel trapped, overwhelmed, and even resentful of y'all's husband. I plumb reckon that none of these feelings makes for a happy marriage. And I do believe that you are justified in feeling this way. I mean, y'all tried to get him to change and pitch in more, and all you got was false promises. To have a successful marriage, you need to be partners in everything. And he just doesn't seem to get that. What do y'all reckon, partners? Do y'all think there is any hope for these two? Let me know down below. Next we have one posted by a little filly that has chosen to go no contact with her family because they were poisoning her children's minds against her.
I just cut off my family. I'm shaking. Long story short, I disassociated but allowed contact with my kids to my Jehovah's Witness family for a while. They repeatedly went against my wishes and socialized them with Jehovah's Witness children, kept promoting the magazines and acting like I'm dirt. They would keep telling them I'm going to be unalive and they'll be going to paradise with them, the grandparents. I needed to get physically out of the Borg so that I could heal mentally, and now that I have done a lot of work, I'm done with being disrespected and walked over. I wrote long letters to all family members, addressing many issues each had done, and have been stressing and unsure about sending them. My husband listened to me read them out tonight and sat with me as I talked through everything, and I did the deed. Blocked their numbers, removed them from my phone, and then sent the emails with the attached documents out. I know I did the right thing and have too much self-worth and love for my kids to let this disrespect and abusive shunning go on, but I'm sitting here shaking and terrified. I was so confident pouring out my thoughts and feelings, so damn confident it surprised even me. But now it's done, I'm feeling a decrease in adrenaline and the fear is setting in. Please tell me someone else has been in a similar situation and that I did the right thing in emailing those documents and blocking them. I've never ever had to do something like this before and cut anyone from my life, so I'm literally shook up and freaked out.
Well now ma'am, I guess resistance is far from futile, ain't it? It sounds like to me that what y'all did was necessary, and doing things that are necessary are seldom easy. But what you did was to show how good of a mom you truly are. You protected yourself, and, more importantly, your youngings. Your kinfolk were poisoning their minds against you. And no one, not your kinfolk, not a friend, not a priest, no one should ever have the right to do that. She posted a short update. In it she says, "Thank you. The brainwashing and self-doubt is deep. That's been the hardest to work through. I'm genuinely happy, but still can't believe it's done. Thank you for the support though. Literally have nowhere else to go that would understand the situation. Even my therapist looked a little bug-eyed when I tried to explain some issues to her." Well ma'am, if y'all's happy, then we're happy. How about you partners? Have any of you experienced anything like this? If so, how did you deal with it? If you like, feel free to share your story in the comments. Our last story involves a tenderfoot that has a 15-year-old daughter that is getting set for her quinceañera, but instead of having a party, he decides to allow her to use the money for a trip to Europe, and her twin brother gets a mite bit riled up over it.
AITA for sending my daughter on a trip to Europe but not my son? I'm 42, and my wife, who's 40, is from Mexico, and they follow a tradition to hold a big party for girls that are turning 15 called a quinceañera. That wasn't part of my culture, and I never understood the point of spending so much money on a party anyway. But we did save up for a while to throw my daughter one. Until my daughter herself said a few months ago that she doesn't want a party and would prefer to spend that money on a trip. It will be a 30-day tour to Europe with a group of teenagers, including some school friends. Here's the thing. My daughter has a twin brother. Of course, my son wouldn't get a quinceañera even though they celebrate their birthday on the same day, because the party is just for girls. But since the party turned into a birthday trip, he's upset and feeling left out. I tried to explain to him I'm not so financially comfortable right now to send both of them. I could find a way, but I honestly don't want to spend anything beyond the quinceañera fund. He lashed out and told me his mother and I always favor his sister over him, which is very unfair. I then told him my father never paid for any of my trips and the first time I went abroad I was already an adult and did it with my own money. If that's what he wants, I suggested he could maybe look for a job. I get that I was harsh, but his sense of entitlement really threw me off. AITA for agreeing to the trip aware he'd stay behind? Edit, to make it clear, I'm not paying for any of my daughter's friends' trips, it will be a supervised tour and some girls she knows from school will also go on their parents' dime.
I'm sorry, partner, but y'all's a real sidewinder. Y'all's being a mite bit unfair to her twin. Him accepting the fact that the party is only for girls is one thing, but his sister being allowed to go to Europe whereas he can't is a mite bit different thing. And then y'all complain about his sense of entitlement? It sounds to me like y'all's daughter is the entitled one. I plumb reckon that what the little princess wants, the little princess gets. You could have just said no to your daughter, pointing out that the money you and your wife saved was for her quinceañera, and not a 30-day trip to Europe, which would probably cost more than the party. Citing that the quinceañera is tradition. Maybe even give a choice, either y'all have the party as planned, or y'all can just put the money in an account to save towards college. Of course, given those two options, I plumb reckon she'll pick the party. What do y'all think, partners? Do y'all think he is a sidewinder or not? I'd thank y'all kindly if y'all would let me know down in their comments. Well, partners, I do plumb reckon that it's time for this good old boy to ride off into the sunset. But if y'all enjoyed y'all's time at the Reddit Ranch, then I'd thank y'all kindly to hit like and subscribe. It'll really make this old cowboy smile. Until the next time we meet, adios.